Hi there, friends. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday morning here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Tim Pham. It is Thursday. Feels good.
It does.
The weekend is in sight, Channing.
It's almost here.
Thomas, what day is it? What day do we call this day?
It's Friday Eve.
Oh, yeah. That's what I love to hear. Thomas, it's good to see you. The forecast, though, behind you. My gosh, man.
Not excited about
Another
that.
hot one. See, we're one day closer to the weekend, but in my eyes, we're just one day closer to some more moderate temperatures because this has been a fairly exhausting heat wave. Today, though, is the final day of it. Likely to hit triple digits for some areas of the inland northwest. We did that 2 days in a row in Spokane. Looks like today will be the third, though forecasting exactly 100 degrees in what should be our final day of that excessive heat. But more importantly this morning, look at how smoky and hazy it looks outside. That is going to be an important part of context with today's forecast because it's not just hot, we also have poor air quality. For Spokane, the AQI is above 100, which puts us in that unhealthy for sensitive groups range. If it gets to 150, that puts us into unhealthy. I do think that we stay in that orange category for today and then see some improving conditions tomorrow, but there are areas in northern Washington that are reporting unhealthy air quality this morning.
At 6:02, let's take a look now at air quality levels that we're seeing across the inland northwest this morning. Right now, OMAC has air quality that is considered unhealthy.
Now heading to North Idaho and Sandpoint, they're actually seeing moderate air quality right now.
And in the Palouse around Pullman and Moscow, they are also seeing air quality that is unhealthy for sensitive groups. So we are now entering the final stretch of this heat wave hitting our region, but it will still be dangerously hot, as Thomas told us. Thankfully, the city of Spokane has several cooling centers open for people to use.
So the Spokane libraries are opening up to help people cool off. Now this includes the Central, Liberty Park, Shadle Park, Hilliard, South Hill, and Indian Trail libraries. They open at 9 a.m. and then will close at 7 p.m. There's also more support available at the Trent Resource Shelter. And if you need a ride, Spokane Transit is offering free fare if you're heading to a cooling shelter. The splash pads and the pools at city parks are also open for people to use for free. Now, we don't normally see this many days of 100-degree temperatures in a row here in the inland northwest. So this morning, our Nicole Hernandez is joining us live to explain why the prolonged heat is even more dangerous. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Channing. So when it's this hot for this long, the problem is that not all of us have the ability to find a place to cool down and get relief from some of this heat. So I spoke with Dr. Velasquez with the Spokane Regional Health District, and he explained why it's so important that all of us find a way to cool down at some point.
So the reason why we pay more attention when you have more than 1 day of extreme heat is because your body does need the ability and the time to recover and reset its thermostat. The body needs some time to readjust. The human body is very effective at dissipating heat, but that does take a toll on the body.
So Dr. Velasquez explained there are two main ways the body cools off. One is sweating, but consistent sweating can lead to dehydration. And two, more blood flow to the skin, but that means your heart is working harder, and that's not good for days on end either. So he says most of us can recover from being in the heat in about an hour or so, but of course that would take longer for people who are more sensitive to heat, like people who are pregnant or elderly people or children. But that's why it's so important for all of us to find ways to cool down somewhere. Gonzaga has an interactive cooling resource map online. You can actually text the word MAP to 509-448-2000. We'll send you a link so you can kind of look through, see where some of the closer spots are to you that you can go cool off if you don't have air conditioning or a place to work that has air conditioning. I actually have the map printed out right here, and you can see just how many spots across Spokane and Spokane Valley there are to potentially go find that relief from the heat. Not only are there spots where there's air conditioning that are open, so that's the snowflakes all over the map, but there's also spots with trees, which indicate parks that have more shade, and then spots with water spigots that are parks that have those splash pads. So many different ways across the city of Spokane that you can work to cool off, and make sure your neighbors and your friends and your family are doing the same thing so everyone stays safe. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
At 6:05, the woman suspected of lighting fires near Spokane's Catalyst housing project is now back in Spokane County.
So Vicki Smith faced a judge back here in Spokane County yesterday afternoon. She was arrested in Tukwila late last week. Smith is accused of lighting those 3 fires on August 3rd in 3 different spots around Finch Arboretum and Sunset Highway. The fires prompted level 3 evacuations. A judge set her bond at $75,000, but Smith took issue with the stipulation that she stay in Spokane County.
You said something about have a current address. I have no address.
Maintain your location within the county of Spokane.
Okay.
An affidavit claims Smith admitted to setting 3 fires near Sunset Highway. Court records and KREM 2's interview with a witness who saw Smith near the fire scene point to Smith being upset over Spokane's treatment of people who are homeless and a lack of services as a reason she set the fires. Smith does have a criminal record in Spokane County. She pleaded guilty in 2021 to assault and harassment for threatening people with a box cutter.
Just about 6:07 right now. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. Spokane police charged 2 teens with murder after they allegedly beat a man to death. Last week, police found a man beaten and unconscious on East Mission Avenue. They say that the victim was likely hit with a skateboard, knocked down, and kicked repeatedly. On Tuesday, the victim died in the hospital. 18-year-old Quentin Tyndale and 19-year-old Justin Haylett are now charged with his murder. A man is in jail this morning following an hours-long SWAT standoff yesterday. Now, this standoff forced parts of 2nd Avenue in downtown Spokane to close for a few hours. Police have not released the man's name, but they do say that he was wanted for assault, rape, robbery, and kidnapping. Well, take a look at this. Mount Rainier National Park was trashed after a meteor shower over the weekend. Park officials say a surge of visitors damaged meadows and wildflowers. The park says that they trampled plants may never return and that the landscape scars could take decades to regrow. So if you're planning a trip to Mount Rainier, you can help protect the park by staying on the trails and parking in designated zones. Washington State has been awarded nearly $60 million in federal grant money to replace decades-old water tunnels under roads. They've likely been linked to the decline of salmon and other fish. Washington got the largest share of the $200 million being spent on the projects nationwide. And that's a look at your morning rush.
6:08 weather-wise this morning, still very much mild out there with temperatures in the 70s in many areas for the inland northwest, setting up another very hot day ahead of us. So we'll go from the 70s back into the triple digits most likely, especially around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. 100 in Spokane, not quite a record high for today, but is day 4 of 4 of our heat wave. And yes, those are very much hazy skies that you see on those icons. The winds will start to increase a little bit today and a bit more for tomorrow. So we are under red flag warnings for the inland northwest. That means high to critical fire danger levels because of those stronger winds, which will make any current or new fires burn aggressively across the region.
Well, good news for all of the bargain lovers out there. Today is National Thrift Shop Day, and it's safe to say there really is a holiday for every occasion.
Yeah, and a lot of people love this one. Downtown Spokane is celebrating with a whole bunch of deals at 10 different thrift shops. You can actually get 20% off at Do It With Soul, Finboy Records, Small Town Roots, and Garland Resale Boutique. Also, you can get up to 50% off when shopping at Echo Boutique or Fringe and Frey. There are even more deals, and you can find them online. Just head on over to backtodowntown.org. There's also a contest to win a pair of Macklemore tickets, a nod to his song Thrift Shop, of course. All you need to do is take a photo of your best thrift purchase and upload it to the Back to Downtown website. Winners will be announced on Monday.
And that brings us to our wake-up call this morning, because we're asking you, what is the best thing that you have ever found in a thrift shop? Take a look at some of these. I think these are really cool. One of our viewers, if you take a look at the top right, said they got this at the Goodwill on Northwest Boulevard. The one on the left is copied from the Benjamin Harrison administration, and the plate on the right is copied from the Thomas Jefferson administration. Very cool finds. So make sure that you keep texting us your thrift store finds to 509-448-2000 or post to social media and use the hashtag UpWithKREM.